My name's Catherine Mackenzie and I'm standing in my favourite city, Bendigo. And I love it because of the broad streetscapes, the gorgeous, rich Victorian architecture, the beautiful street furniture, lights, towers, spires. And for a moment you could really believe that you were somewhere in Europe. But no, you're here right in the heart of Victoria, in one of Victoria's fastest growing regional centres. It's a commercial hub, but it's a beautiful historic city and a gorgeous city to be part of. Sitting here in the heart of this busy city, it's hard to believe that this was the site of a gently wooded valley with beautiful creek running through it, with cattle grazing and quite a rural scene. Of course, this was prior to the great gold rush here in Bendigo. And once gold was found in this Bendigo Creek, this city was transformed in the period of 20 years. So by 1871, Bendigo was deemed a city in its own right. Roslyn Park became the centre of this emerging city. 60 acres was set apart in the heart of town and became the site of the government camp. And the upper part, which is today the QEO, was where they grazed their animals. And this was central to the whole of the Goldfields and gold scene. Roslyn Park today provides a tranquil escape for the community and many visitors, but it's also the site of the senior secondary school, one of the largest schools in Victoria, and Camp Hill Primary School. On the perimeters of Roslyn Park, there are many beautiful historic buildings. By the late 1850s, Bendigo experienced a second gold rush. Miners discovered gold in the deep quartz reefs. The surface exposures of quartz, called reefs, were chased down through the earth. Deeper and deeper went the mining shafts. And within a couple of decades, Bendigo miners were working at depths greater than anyone else in the world, over 2 kilometres below the surface. Bendigo's underground gold resource turned out to be a giant in world terms, yielding 22 million ounces of gold in a little more than a century. It was the richest of its kind in the world. You can still find gold mining in Bendigo today in its historic form by visiting Central Deborah, the tourist gold mine, or its modern face in Bendigo Mining's massive tunnelling operations under the city. By the 1870s, Bendigo was a great, thriving city. Enterprises that existed then are still with us today. For example, the Bendigo Pottery, Bush's Store and the Bendigo Bank. As Bendigo emerged into this grand city, it managed to keep some of the original buildings. It retained elements of its first architectural layer. New architectural forms emerged as old buildings were upgraded or replaced. The Shamrock Hotel, for instance, went through 3 building forms. In the 1870s, it had a fairly basic design. Today, its third 1890s form survives in all its boom-time magnificence. Likewise, the Bendigo Town Hall, a brick building in the 1870s, became a palace in the 1890s, outside and inside. Today, the architectural vibrancy continues, with the large Bendigo Bank building emerging in the heart of Charing Cross, and La Trobe University's Visual Arts Centre in View Street, all reflecting the spirit and confidence the current generation have in this city. The city's balancing of progress and preservation is everywhere on display. Take, for instance, the trams. They were introduced to Bendigo about 100 years ago. Trams have long disappeared from streetscapes from other places, but not Bendigo. And a tram ride through our beautiful city is a must-do experience.
We're now approaching the magnificent Shamrock Hotel, located at the...
Old buildings like former banks have new lives as restaurants and cafés. During the 1880s and 1890s, wealthy Bendigonians visited the salons of Paris and London and purchased artworks for the gallery here in View Street. At the same time, the Chinese community were importing rich textiles and bringing those to the city to showcase their rich way of life. The Chinese Association's historic meeting place is now part of the award-winning Golden Dragon Museum. View Street is now consolidating as the city's cultural hub with its art gallery and performing arts centre. Bendigo Art Gallery is now recognised as one of Australia's foremost regional galleries and features artwork from some of Australia's most celebrated and contemporary artists. So you may understand why I love this view from Charing Cross. It reflects the richness and grandeur of this beautiful city.